Hello, DigiFam. It is I, Prodigious, and I'm here with a deck profile. Now, there has been different versions of this deck, and I will list a couple of different options and alternatives you can play around with for it. But here is my take on 7 Great Demon Lords. So, of course, I am going to run the 4 Lucimons that we get from EX6. You have, when this card will be played from hand, if you don't have a level 5 or lower Digimon, reduce the cost by 5, so it becomes a hard 5 to play, but it is needed for the Demon Lord deck. Start your main phase and on play. Reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 card with Angel, Archangel, 3 Great Angels, or 7 Great Demon Lords trait among them to your hand, and trash the rest. End of your turn once per turn by placing one of your level 6 Digimon on top of your security stack. This Digimon may Digivolve into Lucimon Chaos Mode from your trash without paying the cost. Who else here is excited to see an actual full-on Lucimon deck now that we got some previews coming up of Satan Mode? Let me know in the comments. But yes, I do actually have and am running Raremon at 2, the promo card. This card slash Digimon is also treated as having Cyborg trait and is undead. You hard play this level 4 for 4 cost. On play or when Digivolving by trashing 1 card in your hand, draw 2. Inheritable doesn't matter because it's not going to get evoed on top of. But it could, I guess, with Lucimon. But anyway, I'm running this in here because there is sometimes, not always, but sometimes where this card can combo with one of our Demon Lords. And we'll get into that briefly. And that is with Barbamon here. Now, a lot of people's versions of Demon Lords decks don't run this guy at all, or if they do, it's only at 1. I am going to run 2, I'm telling you that right now, because he has the new mechanic of Scapegoat, but mainly on play when Digivolving, trash 1 card in your opponent's hand without looking. All turns once per turn, when a card is trashed in your opponent's hand, you may play 1 purple card with a play cost of 10 or less in your trash without paying the cost. For each card in your opponent's hand, reduce the cost by 1. So basically, if you can get this out early to mid-game in combination with Raremon, or heck, even our poster boy of limit 1 per deck, Eismon, and your opponent has, say, 6, 7 cards in hand, and you snipe a card, you're going to be able to play these guys back from your trash and get another use out of them. So that's why I'm running this at 2, because it has its use outside of what people are using it for. Plus, with this deck, I find you do need Demon Lords names. And on top of that, if you are running a deck like this without all 7 Demon Lords in some shape, way, or form, then it's not a true 7 Demon Lords deck. That's just my opinion. Not that it can't be done, but in my opinion, if it's going to be a deck that has to have all 7, it has to have all 7. Anyway, moving on. We do, of course, as I said, have Eismon Scatter Mode. Next, we have the Lucimon Chaos Mode at 4. This is the big, scary man who supposedly takes charge of the Demon Lords. He is a level 5. He can evo from our Lucimon for 6. Otherwise, he evos from a level 4 yellow or purple for 8. Yes, 8. On player when Digivolving, your opponent may delete one of their Digimon or Tamers. If this effect didn't delete, trash the top part of your opponent's security stack and recover 1. So yes, it does give them that option. It gives them a hard decision, but sometimes if you can plan this just right and play it at the right moment, they won't have a choice, and you will get that recover and trash of their security. All turns, when this Digimon would leave the battle area by returning one Lucemon from this Digimon's Digivolution cards or from your trash to the bottom of the deck, you may play one Lucemon Satan mode or a level 6 Digimon card with 7 Great Demon Lords trait from your trash without paying the cost. Pardon me. Next, I am running a single copy of Beelphamon Sleep Mode. Yes, you can actually still run this in this deck. It may not always come up, but it is a different name because it is still a Demon Lord. It's just a different mode. And what this deck cares about is different names of Demon Lords. So Beelphamon Sleep Mode will be helping out. It can digivolve from a Beelphamon Rage mode. On player, when digivolving by placing one Beelphamon Rage mode from your trash at the top of this Digimon's Digivolution cards, this Digimon can't attack and isn't affected by your opponent's effects until the end of your opponent's turn. Opponent's turn once per turn. When your opponent's Digimon attacks by trashing 2 cards in your hand, end that attack. It doesn't really come up too often, but you can still use this in combination with our more widely known Beelphamon Rage mode. Yes, it's Beelphamon again, with Rage mode as his name. Start of your main phase, delete all your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon. If you have 6 cards or less in hand, this Digimon gets plus 3000 and security attack plus 1. End of attack once per turn by deleting one of your other Digimon, unsuspend this Digimon. And the inheritable is end of opponent's turn. If this Digimon is Beelphamon Sleep Mode, trash that top card. In other words, you go from Sleep Mode to Rage. We're running him at 2. So again, it's all about the names. We got 1 of him, but we got 2 of him because he actually works with our Sleep Mode like normal. Now, another card in this deck is Leviamon. The good Leviamon. Matter of fact, this is probably the main card that makes the deck really scary. Because he has security attack plus 1. He on-plays or win Digivolves. If your opponent has equal or more Digimon and Tamers than you, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the highest level, then delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest level. On top of all turns, when an opponent's Digimon is deleted, you gain a memory for each Digimon deleted. We're running him at 2. Now, since we are running him, we should obviously run Leviamon X Antibody. No, we're not running the actual X Antibody option card in here. You possibly could try to, but mainly we're using this in combination with Leviamon himself because trash all turns when opponent's Digimon or Tamer is played by an effect. One of your Leviamon or one of your Digimon with X Antibody and Digivolution cards may Digivolve into this card from your trash without paying the cost. This monster has security attack plus 2, and when Digivolving, if your opponent has as many or more Digimon and Tamers as you, delete one of your opponent's Tamers, then delete one of your opponent's level 3, level 5, and level 7 Digimon. Otherwise, normally Digivolves from Leviamon for 2. So moving on. I'm running 2 copies of Lilithmon. Now, a lot of decks, like I said, would also probably run her only at 1. But I think she has her place in this deck because of what she can do. On player, when Digivolving, until the end of your opponent's turn, one of your opponent's Digimon gains end of your turn, delete this Digimon. All turns once per turn, when this Digimon would leave the battle area other than in battle, by deleting one level 5 or lower Digimon, prevent it from leaving. It does not say it has to be your Digimon. If your opponent has a level 5 or lower, when this tries to get deleted, whether it be through your egg or from whatever, you can delete an opponent's Digimon instead to keep it from going away. Not to mention it has opponent's turn once per turn. When another Digimon is deleted, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. So yeah, definitely a good one. And I've already gone over Barbamon. Again, a lot of decks run him at 1 or they don't run him at all. But I'm running him at 2. Because this deck is all 7 great Demon Lords, and you have to have a variety of numbers and names of those 7. Now, I am running the obligatory, you must run 4 copies of the Beelzemon from this EX6 set. It has Rush on play or when Digivolving, trash top 4 cards of your deck. Then if you have 10 or more cards in your trash, de-Digivolve 2 on one of your opponent's Digimon. All turns, when this Digimon would leave the battle area other than by battle, place 1 card with the 7 great Demon Lord's traits from your trash as the bottom Digivolution card of one of your Gate of Deadly Sins in your breeding area. So your gate will activate and automatically delete your stuff, and after it has deleted anything on your field at the start of your turn, you get to go ahead and add a card of Demon Lord underneath your egg. But this card is a separate effect that adds to that. This is why 7 Great Demon Lords is technically a little bit better than the Royal Paladins and Royal Knights, because they have this extra effect on some of their Digimon that says when they get popped, you get to add an additional Demon Lord underneath your gate. With that being said, we are still running Leviamon and Beelzemon respectively from this set, because they also have that all turns effect. Now the Leviamon from this set is purple and blue. It has all turns once per turn when an opponent's Digimon or one of your 7 Great Demon Lords trait is played. By trashing 1 card in your hand, return the bottom 3 Digivolution cards of one of your opponent's Digimon to the bottom of the deck. Then if your opponent has as many or less total Digimon and Tamers, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution cards. So that first effect is just there to try and do something to your opponent. Kind of generic. And it's also kind of ironic that this version of Leviamon is worded that way. It is if your opponent has the same amount or less before it really triggers, versus the much better Leviamon says if your opponent has the same number or more. So that's why I'm going with this split. You have 2 that focuses on the same or more, 2 that says same or less. 1 can be aggro, 1 is helping with your deck's overall game plan. Because it also has the alternate effects of when it would leave the battle area other than by battle, you place a 7 Great Demon Lord under your gate. Now the other Beelzemon Rage mode here, which can still work technically with our sleep mode, at least to the extent of tucking it and then being able to not be affected by stuff for a turn. Yeah, that's still a thing. But mainly this one will be on play when Digivolving. You may trash up to 3 cards in your hand. For each card trashed by this effect, suspend one of your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon. Then, delete all of your opponent's suspended Digimon with the lowest play cost. So this is a way to, number 1, get some stuff out of your hand and in the trash, while also controlling the board. And then it has that same all turns effect of if this were to leave the battle area other than by battle, place 1 card with 7 Great Demon Lord's traits from your trash under your gate. And then finally, we are definitely running the 4 must-run 4 of Creepymon. He is the blocker of the deck. If Beelzemon is the rush attacker, then he is our blocker. On play or when digivolving, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest DP. For each level of that Digimon deleted by this effect, trash the top card of your deck. And then that same all turns effect, if it were to leave the battle area other than by battle, you place a 7 Great Demon Lord trait from your trash to the bottom of one of your gates. Now, something else to keep in mind is all of these guys, like Creepy, BLF Rage Mode here from EX6, Leviamon from EX6, even Beelzemon from EX6. When they mention something along the lines of tucking something underneath your gate, they're not looking at just Digimon. No, they are actually looking at anything that actually has a trait that says 7 Great Demon Lords. And that's why we are running a couple of cards that do just that. Because again, they help with that requirement. We are running a single copy of 7th Full Cluster. It is an option card for 7. It has a trash effect, but it will not work in my current build right now. Although, going over some other cards later, you can run Beelzemon X Antibody in this deck if you so choose. In that case, this card might work then, but mainly its main effect is delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest level. Security effect is to activate the main. And what we're mainly looking at is that trait built into the option card, 7 Great Demon Lords. That's right, our option cards will also have some traits that we can absorb back from our trash and put under our gate. Because our gate only cares about cards that have the trait and different names. Another example of this is 7th Lightning, the Leviamon X Antibody option card. Now, you might actually trigger its trash effect. Pardon. Trash all turns when one of your Digimon digivolves into Leviamon X Antibody by returning this card to the deck bottom, delete one of your opponent's level 4 and level 6 Digimon. In other words, the other levels that our Leviamon X does not mention. Main effect, by trashing one card in your hand, delete one of your opponent's level 4 and level 6 Digimon. Security effect is to activate the main. Now we are also running some missed memory boosts. We're running 2 of them actually. Because of course it goes on theme with the deck. We want to go ahead and trash a couple cards, get a little draw, and then if need be, we can pop this later for some memory. And since we are running Leviamon, he does not unfortunately have the trait on here, but we are definitely running at least 2. You could maybe run 3 of Biting Crush to work with your Leviamon. Main, by trashing one card in your hand, delete one of your opponent's level 6 or lower Digimon. If a card with the 7 Great Demon Lords trait was trashed by this effect, place this card in a battle area. So again, you could actually trash one of your 7 Great Demon Lord traded other option cards to trigger that last part. All turns, when an opponent's Digimon is played by an effect, delay. And that delay effect is you may play one Leviamon from your trash without paying the cost. That can be the big boy for aggro, or that can be the more control-y boy that helps you add to your gate. It does not have Demon Lord trait as well, but we are running at least 2 copies of Rival's Barrage because we are milling some cards from our own deck. And we want to be able to, at times, target a specific Digimon. Possibly even a tamer, if you go with some alternatives that you could add to this deck or change things up with. I'll go over that at the end. Its main effect is to delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the highest level. When this card is milled, you put it in the battle area, and then you can activate its main delay effect of popping it to get back a purple tamer or purple Digimon. Security effect is to delete the opponent's highest level. And then last but not least, we have Ascent of the Seven Great Demon Lords. Now, this is another Seven Great Demon Lord traded option card, so it will help out with that. For cost, you may play one Digimon card with the Seven Great Demon Lords trait from your hand or trash as the bottom Digivolution card of your Gate of Deadly Sins in your breeding area. Then place this card in the battle area. All turns, when one of your Digimon with a Seven Great Demon Lords trait is deleted, activate the delay effect, and then you may play one Digimon card with these, or you may play one Digimon card with a Seven Great Demon Lords trait from the Digivolution cards of your Gate of Deadly Sins in the breeding area without paying the cost. Security effect is to activate the main effect. So this is going to be a way to help you fuel cards under your gate as well. Not to mention, you can keep it on the board and then later on pop it to bring back and recycle certain demon lords that you have absorbed already. Now, last but not least, we gotta go over our level 7s. Some decks might run this at 2, some might run this at 3. I'm running 2 in my current build. That could change. And that is a Gudamon. This is your win button. It can Digivolve from a level 6 for 7 cost. It can Digivolve from a level 5 or higher with 7 Great Demon Lords trait for a cost of 6. When Digivolving and when attacking, you may place up to 7 cards with different names and the 7 Great Demon Lord trait from your trash as this Digimon's bottom Digivolution cards. If you placed 4 or more cards with this effect, delete one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers. When attacking, by returning 7 cards with different names and the 7 Great Demon Lord trait from this Digimon's Digivolution cards to the bottom of the deck, delete 7 of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers. Then trash the top 7 cards of your opponent's security stack. For each card deleted by this effect, reduce the cards trashed by 1. So essentially, the 7 Great Demon Lords are trying to control the game and keep your opponent's stuff that they have on the board at minimum. So that way, when you do pop off and you do play this and you swing, you get to go ahead and do the maximum amount of trashing of their security before the final actual attack even hits them to win the game. Now, to help with this deck, it is a level 7, but it's not essentially a win button. This is more of a stall to help control the game while we're setting up for the final push. And that is 2 copies of Shine Greymon Ruin Mode from EX4. It digivolves from purple for a level 6 for 5. When digivolving and on deletion, all of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 5,000 DP until the end of your opponent's turn. So minus 5 blanketed across their board. Possibly, if you're maintaining turns somehow, minus 10. At the end of attack, delete this Digimon, delete one of your opponent's Digimon, and you recover 1. And of course, it does say you can then, if you have a tamer, hatch an egg, but we're 7 Great Demon Lords. We're not hatching our egg until we've already popped off for game. And then last but not least, I gotta go over the main source of what this deck is focusing on. Our Gate of Deadly Sins. This is our Digi-Egg. Breeding, start of your main phase. Place the top card of your Digi-Egg deck as this Digimon's bottom Digivolution card. Delete all of your opponent's Digimon. This effect deleted, place 1 card with a 7 Great Demon Lords trait from your trash as this Digimon's bottom Digivolution card. Breeding, end of your opponent's turn. By deleting this Digimon with 7 or more cards with different names and its Digivolution cards, you may play 1 Agudamon from your trash without paying the cost. Otherwise, its inheritable is Breeding, your turn, once per turn. When one of your Digimon with the 7 Great Demon Lords trait would be played, you may reduce the cost by 3. If this Digimon has 5 or more cards with different names in its Digivolution cards, you may reduce the cost by 4 instead. So you got this, and then you got 3 others underneath it. So at maximum by itself, you can minus 9 at first, but then once you hit that threshold of having at least 5 or more cards with different names in its sources, and it does actually count the egg itself. So your Gate of Deadly Sins actually counts towards that 5. So technically you only need 4 other different name cards underneath him. You're gonna be then minusing it by 4 times 3, so 12. So all your Demon Lords that are 12 cost or less at that point are basically free, or at least once per turn they are. Now, something to keep in mind is you can actually activate each inheritable effect separately if you wished. So that way you only minus 3 on one Demon Lord, minus 3 on another, but usually the most common way to play is you minus everything all at once. Now, with that being said, some people's builds are trying to include King Yggdrasil from the Royal Knights deck, just to have another egg. So that way you have another different name source already built in. And that does work. I'm not knocking it for that. But there is that slim percentage of a chance that when you shuffle your egg deck of 5 cards, and then you reveal your first card, you could reveal King Drazel, basically. And now, yes, your 7 Great Demon Lords will get cost reduced a lot better going forward, but your win con button of a Gudamon here is for the most part essentially shut down, unless you actually happen to draw into it and decide to just straight up Evo for a cost of 6 on top of your Demon Lords, and then try to proceed to use it that way. But I do feel like that takes away from the strength of the deck. I mean, you don't see King Drazel Royal Knight decks splashing in a copy of the Gate of Deadly Sins to help out with their deck, do you? So in my build, I am not running that. So yeah, that is my take on 7 Great Demon Lords. But now we're going to go over some cards you could include and change up. Like, a lot of decks are actually running 4 copies of Sister Mom Blanc from the Starter Deck 12 Jesmon, because it's similar to our Raremon promo card. This is a level 3 versus a level 4, 3 cost versus a 4 cost. I get it. I'm running 2 of mine because I got them. And they do have some synergy with Barbamon, like I said. But you could make it easier on yourself and more budget friendly and just run the Sistermon. I get it. Next, you could actually substitute or mix in, not just run Lucamons from EX6, but you could run the original Lucamon Chaos Mode from BT7. Its on-play when digivolving effect just straight up deletes an opponent's tamer or a level 6 or lower Digimon. They don't get a choice. You straight up delete something. And I get that as well. Sometimes you don't want your opponent to have that option. You could also run Beelzemon X Antibody, because like the rest of the deck that I have here that you've seen, if we're trying to get some more different named Demon Lord cards in here. The only reason why I don't is because it feels like this is a win more button, like when you're already in a position of winning, to even attempt to Evo into this. Yes, it can only Evo for 1 cost on top of Beelzemon, but again, like I said, you're only getting a win more button out of it versus an actual win. At least that's what I feel like to me when I did test play it. So take it or leave it. You could do either or. Also, to go with the whole more budget-friendly style of deck, if you did focus more, which some deck builds actually run more Lucimons in them, you could include the original Lilithmon from BT3. She has a win digivolving effect of if you have 10 or more cards in your trash, you may return up to 2 purple option cards from your trash to the hand, and then your turn once per turn when you use an option card, gain 2 memory. So that will work great with our Ascendants of the Great Demon Lords option card to help build up our gate, plus refund some memory. And then last but not least, as you saw in my build, we don't really have a tamer. I have been trying to play around with the idea of including one. If I did, I would strongly recommend the Matt Ashita from BT2. It's a memory fixer, which will be good. Even with you reducing cost, it helps to be able to have a memory fixer. But also, on play, you return 1 purple Digimon or purple option card from your trash to your hand. So you can get back a purple Digimon, whether it be a Demon Lord or whatever. Or you can gain back those option cards, much like how I mentioned with Lilithmon. And last but not least, I know some decks are definitely trying to run a couple copies of Porcumon from BT13, I believe. Which, let's see, if I'm not mistaken, I'll just try and find him and show him really quick. So he would be this guy right here. They are trying to include this just in case your opponent were to have the Psychmon or alike floodgate that says you cannot reduce your costs, which would definitely hurt this or anything else like it type of deck, because you're trying to reduce your costs so you can play your Demon Lords. So I get why they're trying to play a couple copies of this. On play / on deletion, delete one of your opponent's level 3 Digimon. I've even seen some people include a couple copies of Pummelwhack option card, because you want to be able to have a way to deal with those floodgates if they show up. But in my test playing of this, I hadn't really seen it. And if I did see it, it did not stick around the board long enough for it to matter, because my opponent rather evoed on top of it because they were desperate for something to evo on top of, or we just happened to go ahead and just hard play our stuff regardless. And when I say hard play stuff regardless, I mean stuff like our Lilithmon, who automatically, even though it might be a hefty cost, does have a means of deleting that floodgate. Or Creepymon, who can delete that floodgate. Or Belphemon Rage Mode can delete that floodgate. I'm just saying the deck already has ways to deal with the floodgate. Now, maybe with some more playtesting, I could see myself maybe changing some things around here and there to try and include a couple copies of them. But otherwise, that has been it. That has been my take on 7 Great Demon Lords. Please like, please comment down below, and also please subscribe. I'm continuing to try and grow the channel so I can bring you some more excellent content. Until next time, this has been Prodigious, out.